The evening sky glowed with shades of gold and blue as hundreds of guests gathered on the waterfront for one of the city's most prestigious charity galas. Crystal lights reflected across the calm water. Expensive dresses shimmered beneath elegant chandeliers, and successful people smiled behind carefully crafted masks. Yet among all the luxury, one unexpected mistake would change two lonely lives forever. Everyone believed the graceful woman standing beside the quiet single father and billionaire CEO belonged there as his partner. She heard every assumption, every whisper, every congratulation. She could have corrected them with a single sentence, but for reasons buried deep inside her broken heart, she remained silent. That one moment of silence became the beginning of a story no one could have imagined. Before we begin, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of unexpected love, please take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone who believes miracles still happen, and subscribe to the channel. Soulful Tales2, your support allows us to continue sharing heartfelt stories that inspire hope around the world. Adrian Mercer had built one of the country's largest technology companies before turning 42. Business magazines admired his success, television interviews praised his leadership, and investors trusted every decision he made. Yet every achievement felt strangely empty after the tragic death of his wife 4 years earlier. She had lost her life in a sudden illness, leaving Adrian alone to raise their 6-year-old daughter, Ivy. Since then, every business trip ended with him rushing home before bedtime. Every board meeting was interrupted by thoughts of school recitals and homework, and every expensive mansion room echoed with silence after Ivy had fallen asleep. Many believed wealth erased loneliness. Adrian knew the opposite was true. His fortune could buy private jets, luxurious homes, and exclusive invitations, but it could never replace the warmth of someone waiting for him after a difficult day. He had stopped searching for love because no one seemed interested in the quiet father hidden behind the billionaire title. Most women admired the CEO, not the exhausted man packing school lunches before sunrise. Across town lived Maren Holloway, a 34-year-old elementary school art teacher, whose life had taken a different path through hardship. After caring for her sick mother for nearly a decade, she had quietly watched many of her own dreams disappear. When her mother finally passed away, Maren found herself completely alone. She had inherited little except a small cottage, countless memories, and a belief that kindness mattered more than success. Her students adored her because she treated every child as though they were extraordinary. Parents often thanked her for encouraging children who struggled with confidence. Yet when she returned home every evening, there was no family waiting, only peaceful silence and unfinished paintings covering the walls. The charity gala existed to raise money for children's hospitals, and Maren had been invited after winning an award for community volunteer work. She felt uncomfortable among wealthy guests wearing designer clothes while she wore a simple navy blue dress she had carefully saved to purchase months earlier. Meanwhile, Adrian attended because his company had become the evening's largest sponsor. He disliked glamorous events but believed the children's hospital deserved support. His daughter, Ivy, had once spent several frightening weeks inside one after her mother's passing due to severe anxiety. The doctors and nurses had changed Ivy's life, and Adrian never forgot their compassion. The misunderstanding happened almost immediately. As Adrian walked through the entrance carrying a silent expression, Ivy suddenly noticed Maren standing alone near an art display created by hospital patients. The little girl wandered over to admire the colorful paintings. Maren smiled warmly and began explaining how children often used art to express feelings words could never describe. Within minutes, Ivy laughed more than she had during the entire evening. When Adrian approached to thank Maren for keeping his daughter company, photographers happened to capture the exact moment. Ivy slipped her small hand into Maren's while Adrian stood beside them, smiling. The image looked remarkably like a happy family. Guests noticed. Whispers spread quietly across the ballroom. Several people approached to congratulate Adrian on finding happiness again. Others complimented Maren on how naturally she fit beside him. No one asked questions. Everyone simply assumed. Maren opened her mouth several times to explain the truth, but every time she looked toward Ivy, she stopped. The little girl's face glowed with happiness unlike anything Marin had seen all evening. For those brief moments, Ivy looked as though she finally belonged inside a complete family again. Correcting strangers suddenly seemed less important than protecting a child's smile. Throughout dinner, the seating arrangements accidentally placed them together. Organizers believed they were a family and adjusted the tables without realizing their mistake. Adrian apologized repeatedly, offering to fix the confusion, but Marin simply smiled gently. She admitted she did not mind because she had never attended such an event with anyone before. As conversations continued, Adrian discovered Marin possessed none of the artificial charm he had grown accustomed to during corporate gatherings. She asked nothing about his company, showed no interest in his wealth, and instead spoke passionately about children's creativity, community gardens, and how every lonely person deserved someone willing to listen. For the first time in years, Adrian found himself speaking honestly rather than professionally. Later that evening, an auction encouraged couples to participate in a fundraising dance competition. Before either of them realized what was happening, the host enthusiastically invited Adrian and Marin onto the dance floor. Again, they could have corrected everyone. Again, they remained silent. The music began beneath glowing lights reflected across the harbor. They moved awkwardly at first, both aware of the strange situation, but slowly laughter replaced embarrassment. Ivy clapped excitedly from the audience while dozens of guests cheered. Neither Adrian nor Marin noticed photographers capturing every moment. The following morning, those photographs appeared across newspapers and social media. Headlines celebrated the mysterious woman who had supposedly stolen the billionaire CEO's heart. Reporters immediately searched for her identity. Parents at Marin's school surrounded her with questions. Television commentators invented romantic stories that had never happened. The unexpected attention overwhelmed her. She considered resigning from her teaching position simply to escape public curiosity. She feared Adrian's reputation might suffer because of a misunderstanding neither of them intended. Meanwhile, Adrian's board members worried that media attention distracted investors. Some encouraged him to publicly deny the rumors immediately. Instead, Adrian surprised everyone. He simply said there was nothing embarrassing about being mistaken for spending time with a wonderful teacher who dedicated her life to children. Those words reached Marin through an online interview. For reasons she could not explain, tears filled her eyes. No one had defended her so sincerely before. Days later, Ivy begged Adrian to invite Marin to her school art exhibition. Adrian hesitated, worried the invitation might seem inappropriate, yet finally gathered enough courage to ask. Marin accepted. Watching Ivy proudly display colorful paintings reminded both adults how quickly children healed when, surrounded by encouragement, they spent hours helping students organize artwork, serving refreshments, and laughing with parents. Again, people assumed they were together. This time, neither seemed eager to explain. Weeks gradually turned into months. Adrian began volunteering during Marin's community art programs. Employees from his company joined as well, renovating playgrounds and donating supplies. Marin inspired people not through speeches, but through quiet compassion. She reminded Adrian that success meant little unless it improved someone else's life. He reminded her that hope often arrived when least expected. Still, both carried invisible fears. Adrian worried any future relationship might hurt Ivy if it failed. Marin feared people admired the glamorous headlines more than the ordinary woman behind them. Everything changed during one autumn afternoon. Ivy disappeared briefly during a crowded community festival. Although volunteers located her safely within minutes, those terrifying moments revealed something important. When Ivy finally ran back crying, she instinctively threw herself into Marin's arms before reaching anyone else. The frightened child whispered that she never wanted to lose another mother. Marin's heart nearly broke. Adrian watched silently, realizing love had entered their lives long before either adult admitted it. That evening, he walked beside the quiet riverside where they had first met. There were no photographers, no expensive gala, no curious strangers. Only two lonely people finally speaking honestly. Adrian admitted the misunderstanding had become the greatest blessing of his life. He confessed he had not smiled so naturally since losing his wife. More importantly, Ivy had begun believing happiness could exist again. Marin confessed she had remained silent that first evening because one little girl's smile mattered more than correcting strangers. Somewhere along the journey, she had stopped pretending. The family everyone imagined slowly became the family she secretly wished existed. Autumn leaves drifted gently across the river as Adrian reached into his pocket. There was no enormous diamond ring prepared for headlines, only a simple silver band that had belonged to his grandmother. He explained that real families were never built by wealth, perfect timing, or public approval. They were built one act of kindness at a time, often beginning with people choosing compassion over convenience. Marin accepted with tears quietly falling down her cheeks. Their wedding months later reflected everything they valued. Instead of luxury, they asked guests to donate books, art supplies, and children's hospital equipment. Instead of celebrity performances, Ivy proudly painted every table centerpiece herself. Instead of extravagant gifts, they celebrated with families whose lives had been transformed. Through the charity programs they supported together. Years later, visitors entering the children's hospital discovered a bright art studio named after Marin's late mother. Adrian had funded its construction, while Marin personally designed every creative corner. Thousands of frightened children found comfort there through painting, drawing, and imagination. Near the entrance hung a framed photograph from that unforgettable charity gala. It showed a billionaire CEO, a quiet teacher, and one smiling little girl. Beneath it rested a small plaque reading, "Sometimes the greatest miracles begin with a misunderstanding, and a heart that chooses kindness instead of correction." If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, leave a heartfelt comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Soulful Tales. 2. Your encouragement helps these stories reach people who may need a reminder that love often arrives in the most unexpected ways. Special request: before this story ends, please comment with the words, "Kindness changes lives." We'd love to know how many hearts still believe that one compassionate decision can change someone's future forever. Sometimes life does not transform because someone speaks. Sometimes it changes because someone chooses silence at exactly the right moment. One mistaken assumption became a second chance. One child's smile healed two broken hearts, and one ordinary act of kindness created the family all three had been searching for. In a world quick to judge appearances, their journey proved that the most beautiful love stories are not planned. They are quietly written by compassion, patience, and the courage to embrace unexpected beginnings. And perhaps that is the greatest miracle of all.